When we're using rates to determine an unknown, it's going to be really important that you pay attention to the units, things like kilometers and hours, because it's going to help us figure out how to write the ratio in a way that's going to help us make a calculation to find an unknown. So most of the time, like if we're thinking back to the previous example about kilometers per hour, we just think about kilometers per hour. But you can also write that as hours per kilometer if you wanted to. And we don't often refer to it that way, but sometimes it's helpful when we're making calculations. So if we look at this example where Spencer can decorate 12 cakes in 2 hours, there's kind of two ways we can write that. We can say that he can do 12 cakes in 2 hours, or we can do it the other way around, hours over 12 cakes. Now this is the rate that we would use, 12 cakes per 2 hours, which would be 6 cakes per hour. But if we're trying to make a calculation, sometimes using the inverse of the ratio or inverse of the rate is important for us. So if we pay attention to the units here, if you think about these two fractions, one of them has cakes on top and one of them has hours on top. So if we look at our question, two of them here, how many cakes? So we want to know how many cakes he can decorate in 5 hours in this case. And in the other case, how long would it take him to decorate 20 cakes? There's going to be an important decision to make for each of these when we're solving them. So, how many cakes? Well, that means my answer needs to be in cakes. I need to know how many cakes. So I'm going to use the rate, this one here, where I have cakes on top. So I know that he can do 12 cakes in 2 hours. And I'm curious how many he can decorate in 5 hours. So if I times that, I should get my answer. And the reason this works out is because if I don't just times by 5, but I say times by 5 hours, it's what we call a unit analysis. Hours divided by hours, the unit hours actually goes away and you're left with just the unit cakes. Similar to how with algebra you might have like 8x over x. You can cross one off the top and one off the bottom. Well, the same thing will happen here with the units. So 12 divided by 2 is going to be 6, times 5 is going to be equal to 30 cakes. And again, the reason this works is because hours will cancel with hours. Not the number, just the unit. So the 5 stays there and the 2 stays there, but it's the unit that cancels for us. And you can also kind of try to think about it with common sense here as well, that if he does 12 cakes in 2 hours, that means he's going to do 6 cakes in 1 hour if you simplify that. And if he can do 6 cakes in 1 hour, well, if he does that for 5 hours, he should have 30 cakes. But this method here, where we put the units that we want for the rate on the top, then our answer will come out to the one we want it to be. As another example here, how long would it take him to decorate 20 cakes? Well, here I'm wondering about how long, so this is the hours. So I'm actually going to use the reciprocal here, as we call it, where we have it written around the other way. So 2 hours per 12 cakes times 20 cakes, and we would be able to get our answer. Again here, because cakes will cancel with cakes, and you'll be left with just the unit hours, which is what we want. So again, the numbers stay the same, it's really just the units, and if you can see that, if you can visualize what's going on with the units, it'll help you decide how to write your fraction. So, if we have 2 divided by 12 times 20, we get 3.33 repeating hours. So it's going to take him 3.33 hours. Or another way to write that could be 3 hours and 20 minutes. So that 0.33 repeating is a third of an hour, and a third of an hour is just going to be 20 minutes. So two ways that we can write that. But again here, when I'm looking for hours, I'm going to write my rate with the hours on top. When I'm looking for cakes, I'm going to write my rate with the cakes on top, and then you just times by the information that's been given to you. Let's take a look at one more example. So Spencer bought 800 grams of chocolate for $6. So there's two ways that we can write this then. We could say 800 grams per $6. Or we could also say $6 for 800 grams. And deciding which of these we're going to times in the problem is going to be determined by the units. So again, if I read this question, how much chocolate can he buy? I'm going to want the one that has the chocolate unit on the top, and the chocolate is going to be the grams of chocolate. So here I want to use the one that has grams on top. So I'm going to use 800 grams per $6. And if I times that by $15, you can think about that unit dollars will go away and you're left with just the numbers. So 800 times 15 divided by 6, and you're going to get 2,000 grams of chocolate. If we look at another example, how much will it cost him? Well, here I want the cost, so I'm going to put the dollars on top because I want my answer to have dollars. So if I have $6 per 800 grams, and I times it by the 3 kgs, oh, we gotta be careful here. My unit that I've been given is in grams. I need to have the same unit. So how can I write 3 kgs in grams? That's going to be 3,000 grams. So the reason I'm doing that is because if I'm going to cancel my units, if I'm going to think about them dividing it away from each other, I need to make sure they're in the same unit. So here grams will cancel with grams, and I'm going to be left with 6 times 3,000 divided by 800. And you're going to get $22.50. So it'll cost him $22.50 to buy 3,000 grams. And again, I'm looking at my units. I want dollars, so I'm going to use the rate with the dollar on top. Here I wanted chocolate, so I'm going to use the rate with the chocolate or the grams on top. And after that, you can times through, and again, what we call unit analysis here. Grams divided by grams will go away, and you'll be left with dollars. Here, dollars divide by dollars, and you're left with grams. So again, be careful with that. You just want to pay attention to your units, and whatever, again, the answer is that you want, make sure you put that at the top of your rate.